I'll talk about my journey, right? I interact with a lot of students, young entrepreneurs, and the way my interactions are structured is that I usually like to share my journey rather than giving I would call it gyan, because I think all of you are smart. I'll share my thoughts and you can pick up what is right for you, okay? So let's get started. So my journey began in the third year of college, right? Like many of you, I also had dreams and aspirations of getting a job in the Silicon Valley and settling there for a long period of time. But when I actually got an internship at a Silicon Valley-based startup, I spent 3 months there. This is summers of 2016, right after third year of college. And spending 3 months there did not give me that right kick. The company was great, people were great, they were doing exciting stuff, but then I felt that my contribution to the company is quite less. There are hundreds of employees and I'm just one of the player in that large team. So in fact, on some of the days I went to office at 10 o'clock, on some of the days 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, nobody cared, right? After the end of internship, I realized that, look, I cannot be here for a long period of time. Also, someone mentioned I come from a Marwadi family, so that in my family, we are very close to parents. So I could not stay in the West for a long period of time. So when I came back to India, I decided that I'll start a company of my own, I'll start a business of my own. Fortunately, I had entire fourth year of college left for myself to explore. I had completed almost all of the courses. I did not have to sit for placements because after my internship, I had a pre-placement offer. I did not have to prepare for any competitive exam for higher studies. Many of the friends go for masters in the US, in Western countries, which I did not have to go to because of the reasons I mentioned. So I had full final year of college to explore myself, to understand what I like, what I dislike. And that's when I got into entrepreneurship. I joined my college school of entrepreneurship and I took up a lot of courses, some of which you can see here: technology venture creation, marketing for entrepreneurs. Many of us would be engineers here, and engineers are great at building. In some of these courses, I learned that, look, we have to first understand the customer needs before building something. The best part was that the professors who were taking these courses were not really academicians. They were entrepreneurs themselves. Some of them had large multi-billion-dollar listed companies which they co-founded back in 1975, back in 1980s, right? So their thought process was very simple. No pen paper based exams. Go and talk to customer, understand their problem statement, build a company. So I partnered with a friend of mine who was also from my college, same branch. The two of us were very similar, knew each other from 3 years of college and started the company together. So as a part of the project, we were asked to find a problem statement. One problem statement I had was, all of our parents, many of our parents are not too educated. If they have to order food online or purchase something from e-commerce platforms or book a flight ticket, they reach out to us. Imagine if there was a simple solution in which they could dial a number, they could talk to a voice-assisted agent, automatic voice-assisted technology, and get the cab booked or get the order delivered or book a flight ticket. It will make our lives so easy. So something like a consumer-facing chat or a voice bot kind of solution is what we plan to build out. When we presented this idea to our professors, they told that, look, this is a consumer-facing idea and it will require a lot of capital investment, right, to educate the customers, to bring this to the market. If you have built something like this, go and take it to large enterprises. And they also suggested that flight booking, travel booking is one area where you can explore this. Another tough area is banking, right? How many of our parents use net banking, mobile banking, vis-a-vis going to branches? So that was an interesting thought process. And through the connects of some of our mentors, some of our advisors, we met some of the large banks in India. We met like a few private banks which were really large, which are $50 billion companies, and some of the public sector banks. I remember an interesting story I'll tell. In one of the banks, in the last slide of the presentation, we mentioned next steps: do a pilot, graduate from college. And no wonder we were kicked out of the room instantly, because like a large professional institution would not want to see college grads pitching to them. So this is a photograph I wanted to show you, because entrepreneurship is often glamorized, people wearing fancy coats, buying expensive cars, but this is how really entrepreneurship is. You got to meet your customers, you got to talk to them, understand their problem statements. My friend and I, in the streets of Mumbai, we spent a lot of time just talking to people that what are your challenges, which apps do you like to use, which apps are you not able to use, right? So to understand what problems they are facing. And we met, so in this case, the stakeholders were two people, which is people like us whose parents call us for help, and the parents themselves. So we met people of all age groups to understand the problem statement and work backwards. In fact, as a part of the Marketing for Entrepreneurs course, the idea was to sell before we build anything, get a contract. Our start was very interesting in the sense that after meeting 3 banks, we met a 4th bank, which is a large public sector bank. And that bank, they really wanted to support us. Their department general manager, he was very supportive of young entrepreneurs, startups, who wanted to build something, and rather than just going for a job or going outside India, right? So we got our first client, and it was a great starting point for us. And they also floated our name to their group company. So this large bank, they supported us. They gave us the contract of roughly $100,000. Just imagine 21-year-old starting a company, and they get the first contract of $100,000 from the largest public sector bank in the country. So it was a great start. We had our ups and downs during the journey. When we onboarded this customer, for example, we had to go through multiple stakeholders. Like, we are selling to a large enterprise. There is a business team, there is an information technology team, there is a security team, legal, compliance, procurement, finance. All of these nuances, both of us had to learn. We were programmers, and that's all we were. We knew how to write code. We did not know how non-disclosure agreements work. We did not know how master service agreements work, but we were able to spend time to learn these things and execute it with our customer jointly by getting their mentorship. The young age helped us in some of the aspects because we were 21-year-old when we started. So even the assistant manager of the bank was older than us, and so they helped us. But sometimes it was bad because when we were negotiating the contract, the person on the other side had more experience than our combined age together. They were 45 years experience, and here are 2 21-year-old kids negotiating the contract. So it was very exciting time for us at that time. And to make matters worse, I remember my co-founder's grandmother expired at that time. So you can imagine the kind of situation and stress we went through. We were chasing a job. Both of us had job offers. This is June 2017, and we had a deadline to get the contract before the job starts, otherwise there was no coming back, right? Everything started well. The bank gave us the contract, we deployed the product. It was a mega launch on their foundation day on 1st of July. After that, they introduced us to their group companies, which is the subsidiaries of life insurance, the subsidiary of mutual fund. In India, you all would be aware, right? A bank has multiple subsidiaries. A bank, a life insurance, mutual fund, a stockbroking company, and a non-banking financial corporation also, right? And sometimes they have a housing finance company separately. So we got entry to all the group companies in one shot, and it was a great starting point. We started hiring some employees. We hired 1 full-time employee. We had an intern. Everything was going well, but all of a sudden, my co-founder decided to leave. Now you may ask, why did he leave? Because when everything was going well. The problem was that I came from a small family, let's say $15,000 a year kind of earning, and our contract was $100,000. For me, that was 6 times more money. On the other hand, my co-founder came from a very rich family. For him, it was a fraction of money that his father used to earn. So that is why he felt that the opportunity was much smaller and he left it. And I respect his decision because everybody has their own set of choices. I was stuck in a situation that I have 4 large institutions as paying customers. 2 of them, which were the old ones, which were generating revenue, were being handled by my co-founder. I was looking at the 2 new clients, which just were starting up. So the amount of revenue was small. So which means I was in a bad situation. I had purchased his shares, so I had very less money in the bank, less than $4,000. In Indian currency, that's 5 lakh rupees. I had 1 intern and 1 full-time employee asking me, where is the co-founder? What happened? Did you guys fight with each other? I had the 2 old customers ask me, where is your co-founder? Is your company shutting down? Are you facing problems? My parents were asking me the same set of questions. So that was the sort of lowest point in my life after starting a business, after leaving my high-paying job after 1 year. This is 2018. But then I kept my resolve. I realized that, look, there is something. If 4 large enterprises, 4 multi-billion-dollar companies are willing to pay for our product, we are up to something good. If I can get 4 customers, I can get 10 customers. If I can get 10, I can get 20. If I have 20 customers, I have a meaningful business in place. So I kept my resolve. I asked my friend Harshita, who was at that time working at another bank in Pune, and I convinced her. I explained her the situation. I explained her the potential that our customers had in terms of the size of business that could be created. She found it interesting. She realized the opportunity and she left her job. She had a 3-month-long notice period, after which she moved to Mumbai, and both of us started building this company. My earlier co-founder and I had a lot of distractions. We were trying out multiple things. We were really trying to figure something big. But when Harshita came, we said, let's not do anything big. Let's think big, but take baby steps every single day. If we have 4 large financial institutions, how can we get the 5th one? If I have 2 employees, how can I get the 3rd one? If I have 5 projects, how can I get the 6th one? That small incremental steps is what we thought. Another important realization was that my earlier co-founder and I both were hardcore techies, right? Both had very similar profiles, both from a computer science background, both programmers, both do not have any knowledge of business. On the other hand, when Harshita came, we divided our roles very clearly. I told her, you spend time in office, building the solution, deploying the projects with our team members. I will be on the field meeting customers. You don't have to worry about who is selling. I don't have to worry about who is delivering the projects. So that's how we were able to combine our powers rather than subtracting our efforts. And that worked really well for us. So as you can see, the 3rd bullet point, we divided the roles. I was on the customer side. I spent so much time with one of our customers. So in large banks, you would know that when you enter their office, the corporate office, you have to provide your laptop serial number from a data security perspective. The security guard had memorized my laptop serial number because I used to go there so often. When I went to canteen, and if the credit card was not working for whatever reason, for some payment issue, network issue, the person at the canteen told me, you come tomorrow, you pay me because you come every day. That's the amount of time I spent with the customer. Like within the bank ecosystem, people thought I am an employee. I was always there. I was everywhere visible in the large office. That gave comfort to the customer. They gave us more contracts. This is December 2018. 4 months after my co-founder left, we got a large contract of roughly 14 lakh rupees. In dollar terms, that would be what? $20,000. So for us, that was a breakthrough point because after knowing that my co-founder had left, after knowing that I was operating from a small 2 BHK flat, this large enterprise, which is among the top 3 private banks of India, they are willing to trust me with another contract, which means there was something which was going correctly. So Harshita and I did not look back. We built on top of it. I just sold every single day. After a while, this is April 2019, 6 months after my co-founder had gone, 6 to 8 months, I hired one salesperson. That is another interesting story. So typically, when you hire a salesperson, or you apply for a job at a startup, you will start thinking that, okay, the founder will come in a suited, booted coat, suit, and the sales guy, they will come in a suited, booted, all wearing fancy watches and all. That's what happened. I called the guy to my college campus because I stay nearby. And the guy comes in a very fancy suit. He's wearing shoes, expensive watch to impress me. And I'm driving a scooty, wearing my polo t-shirt at night. Like whatever t-shirt I slept with at night, the same t-shirt I wore next day and reached the campus. I was 22 years old. I had no idea how to interview a salesperson. So you know what I did? I just asked him for 3 long hours, what he did at his previous company, what were their sales processes, how did they sell. It was a completely unrelated company. It was an edtech startup. And I was in an enterprise SaaS space, right? Building software for large financial institutions. But then, because as I said, because I did not know how to interview salespeople, I just asked him all sort of questions. After 3 hours, I was not convinced whether I should hire him or not, because I'm a techie, I'm a programmer, I've never hired a salesperson in my life. So next day, I took him to some of our customers. And then again, he asked me a bunch of questions after the meetings, which got me very interested in him because he was showing interest. He did not understand all the technical jargon I spoke in the meeting, but he still asked me questions. So after that, I thought I'll give it a shot, and I hired that person. Today, he is heading our sales. He's handling a team of more than 15 people. He's grown from there. So, and he has been so supportive that we could not afford a cab, right? This is early days of our company. Co-founder left. Money is very less in the bank. I had a scooty. We used to drive 20 kilometers on express highways to reach to our customers. On one way he was driving, on the other way I was driving. So that's the kind of commitment the team members showed towards me. So company was in a good shape now. We had more than 10 paying customers. The bank with whom we were working, it was going really well. They also introduced us to their subsidiary companies. So we had 3 large groups as our customers. One of the advisors, he also introduced me to another large enterprise. So there also we got the bank, and so accordingly we got subsidiaries. In these large financial institutions, the software purchase process is very complicated. As I mentioned, there are multiple units, right? Business, IT, InfoSec, legal, compliance, procurement. This is a global process, happens across the world. But once you have sold it to the bank, which is highly regulated by the regulators in India across the world, the stockbroking company or the insurer, they get a lot of comfort. they at least know that your product has gone through audits, your product has gone through safety checks, safety measures, right? In India, data security is an important concern. In fact, it is an important concern across the globe. So that way we could do well. We could prove ourselves to the subsidiary companies. We got awards and recognitions from some of our customers. In the customer which I mentioned, where the security guard knew my serial numbers, laptop serial number, they have roughly 100 business teams, right? Within a bank, there is a credit card team, there is a savings account team, or a net banking team. We expanded to more than 25 business teams within like a couple of years because the customer trusted us. So now another interesting phase that happened in COVID period. So as I mentioned, our solution was to help large enterprises automate a part of their customer support. The chat and chatbots which we built, they help the banks answer the customer queries without requiring call center agents or without involving humans. Now, by the way, many people may have an interpretation that AI is taking away jobs. That's not true. Net banking did not take away jobs from branch people. Net banking and branch coexist. Same way, the chat channel is an additional channel. It helps the bank extend the facilities to newer channels, right? So some of these banks, they really liked our product and it expanded very well. And we grew within multiple business teams within these organizations. Then came COVID in 2020. Initially, we were all very scared because we were a bootstrapped company. We did not raise funds. And then COVID is there. All of a sudden, team members are not able to work together. All of a sudden, there are all difficulties in IT systems. For our customers, it became a bigger problem. Because see, we were a small startup. When COVID hit, we were roughly 15 to 20 people at that time. But the large institutions, they have bigger problems. How do employees access emails from home? And executives are fine. Companies provide them laptops and all. But what about a call center agent, a support agent? How will they access the email? How will they access calls from the end consumers? How will they reply to support tickets? That became a problem for these big banks. That is when we came to the rescue and we said, while you get your call centers back in place, we will give you automations from these chatbot solutions. And in that way, COVID became a boon for us. I'm obviously sorry to say that in COVID, so many people died across the world. But for some of the software businesses like us, it became a great opportunity. We expanded left, right, and center. All we did was we said, look, banks and financial institutions are buying our product. We don't know why, but they are buying it. They like it. We spammed every single financial institution. Like some of them have literally blocked us saying ki this company is reaching out to us for whatever reason, every person. But then we reached out to all of them and a lot of them converted. As of today, we have more than 100 such customers. Within the COVID 2-year period, we grew more than 10x in terms of employee strength, in terms of revenues, in terms of customer base. Today, we are more than 150 people. 3 years back, we were roughly 15 to 20 people when COVID happened. Now, we are more than 150 people standalone today. So in that way, all we did was persist. We took small steps every single day. We did not give up, because I'm just giving an example so that all of you can relate. My co-founder had the same exact opportunity as I had. Both of us had same exact college background, same computer science background, same technology background. All I did was not quit. All I did was to stay firm and execute every single day rather than thinking too big, take small baby steps. And I think that is what is very important in life. And all of this paid off when in 2021, my company got acquired. So what happened was that in my college, there is an incubation cell and they have an advisory board. They conducted a meeting and invited all the startups which are incubated, and I got a chance to meet some of the advisors there. One of the advisors was a partner at a large venture capital fund, and they had invested in the acquirer company. So you can imagine, right? Many of the things which seem like luck actually is a matter of persistence, because I bothered to go to that advisory meeting. Now this VC fund, they invest in late stage companies. I was a very early stage startup, less than $500,000 in revenue. Even then I chased him, I met him, because I said ki it's always a good option to stay in touch with smart people, to stay in touch with people who are connected in the industry. Whether or not business happens, doesn't matter. At some point in time, things will pay off. So I met him pre-COVID, which is in October 2019. And after a year, they had invested in this company which was building a voice-based solution, and they found great synergies with us because they have the entire voice stack and we have the entire chat stack. So if we combine the two entities together, it becomes a full stack. right? All of us have used all of these financial services. Communication with the bank typically happens either through call or chat. Chat could be email, chat could be an SMS, chat could be a message on WhatsApp, right? These kind of channels. So by combining the two entities, it would unlock true values for the end customers because they get everything in a single box. For us, it was a great opportunity because the acquiring company had more than 7,000 customers across 50 countries. They had spent a decade acquiring these customers one by one. For us, it was a shortcut because now that we are a part of their portfolio, we have access to all of their customer base all of a sudden. So if I do that, it will take me another 5-7 years, but now I have that direct access easily. So this venture capital partner, he introduced us to the founder of the acquiring company. We had long discussions, we had long negotiations. It went on for a while because when such large transactions happen, you got to understand what is the risk. I had burnt my fingers with my co-founder already. And here I was saying that let me partner with another company. Acquisition is not like a reversible relationship where if you don't like someone, you give them a termination letter and say tata bye-bye. It doesn't work that way. Once you have acquired, you can't say, take your money back and give me back my shares, right? So it's an irreversible relationship. Harshita, which is my co-founder, and we spent a lot of time thinking, what is the stake on the table? What is it that we have to offer and what is it that we are getting? Basis all the decisions, basis all the thought process which we could think of, we took the decision that it is the right opportunity to partner together. And I'm proud to say that in the last 1 year, it has gone really well. We have got the right support. I'm running the conversational AI business, the chat business as an independent subsidiary, and both companies utilize each other's expertise. Like we utilize the expertise of the acquirers' presence in startup ecosystem, the voice expertise, and they utilize our expertise in the banking and financial services. So yeah. Some of my learnings which I would like to share because that is most important. This was the journey so far. First, start early. You know, the biggest benefit we had when we went to these banks, they did not see us as salesmen. They did not see us as entrepreneurs. We presented our college ID card and said, look, we are academicians and researchers from so-and-so college and we would like to understand your problem statements and offer help with technology. Nobody will get defensive if this is your pitch. They will like to offer help. They will suddenly think that they are sitting on a higher pedestal and you are reaching out to them for mentorship. So when you put someone on the higher pedestal, they will always be willing to offer help. So that was a strategy we used. It was, you can call it a shrewd strategy, but I think that was the way we approached people. So that's the first part. And this you can do when you are in college. Many of you are in college and I would highly encourage you guys to explore entrepreneurship as a career option because this time is not going to come back. At this time, your parents don't expect you to earn money. You don't have a liability of a home loan. You don't have a liability of a family. So this is the best time to explore yourself, understand yourself, which is what I did in the 4th year of college. Second, don't give up. So as you can see from my journey, the difference between my co-founder and I was all that I didn't give up. I had my own share of problems. I had my own share of difficult situations, tensions, headaches, because at the end of the day, when all of this happened, I was also 21 or 22 years old, which is not a mature age, and I did not have any prior experience of dealing with such situations. But definitely what I had learned during my engineering entrance exam preparation or my 4 years of college is that do not give up in life, whatever be the situation. Results might take some time to show up, but then they will show up if you continue taking small actions every single day. Third, focus. So as you saw, chat or conversational AI products are very generic. I talked about travel sector, I talked about food ordering, I talked about e-commerce in the beginning. But when we ended up with large financial institutions, that's what we truly nailed. We were always given the advice that why don't you go to edtech sector, why don't you go to travel? But we said, until and unless we acquire all the banks as our customers, we will not go outside. We will not. Today, I am invited in the panel of many financial services events because we are seen as an expert in that space. Although we are a software provider to banks, I'm not a banker, I'm not a financial services person, but because we have nailed that industry so well, we focused on that industry, I am seen as an expert in that space, and that is something which every entrepreneur should do. Like one of the legendary entrepreneurs has written on his blog that it is always better to be a big fish in a small pond rather than a small fish in a big pond. So take a small space and nail it down really well. Like some of you would have just focused on engineering entrance exam. You would have not tried medical in parallel. You would have not tried law in parallel and vice versa. So that's how entrepreneurship also happens. Reduce the number of things you are doing and focus on doing them very, very well. I will give another example to this. When you have a headache problem or a stomachache problem, who do you go to? A general physician. But when there is a blood cancer problem, you go to a hemato-oncologist. You don't go to a general physician. So this gentleman, which is, let's say, a hemato-oncologist, this gentleman or a lady, they are solving a very specific problem. Much less customer base, right? Less people have blood cancer compared to number of people who have headaches. But then they are making more money because they are super specializing. They are solving a much deeper problem of a smaller group of customers. So this is to make you relate how to approach the problem statements. Leverage your network. So one thing I really did was leverage the hell out of my college network. Like I reached out to a CEO of a large insurance company. I just wrote him on LinkedIn. He replied, we got a meeting and they are our customer. Chief Digital Officer of another bank, same thing. CIO of another bank, same thing. So I realized that my college is good. I have a decent network. I should leverage it because the alums of my college, they are sitting at large senior positions in large enterprises. So I absolutely killed it. And a generalized point over here is to find your unfair advantage. The unfair advantage I had was I came from a college which had this kind of network. If you are not from such a college, what is your unfair advantage? For a simple example, I tell you, there must be someone in your group who you reach out to whenever you have to travel somewhere. You have to go to an outing, you have to go to a hill station, you reach out to someone. You have an event to organize, you reach out to this person. Now this person already has an unfair advantage in travel. That is why people are reaching out to him or her to understand, I want to go over a weekend, what is the best resort you recommend, right? I'm sure all of you have that, right? It is because they have an unfair advantage. It is easier for them to build a business and travel than anyone else because you are their customer. You and many of your friends are customers on day one if they build something like this. So find your unfair advantage, and this is not just about entrepreneurship. In career, in your life, if you want to progress, find out what is your unfair advantage. And most likely that unfair advantage will come out because of the fact that you really love doing something. Like the person who is an expert in travel really loves to travel. The person who is an expert in event management really loves to manage and organize events. Find out what is it that you really love to do. And that is where you tie your passion with your profession. Next, execution is the key. So as I told you, some of the instances that we went on to meet the customer in a scooty. At that time, we could have said that, look, we are doing $500,000 of revenue. One more customer will not create an impact. That's fine. Let's not go. Let's go tomorrow. Let's cancel this meeting. But we were relentless. We said we have to do this customer meeting. Customer is the king. Or customer is the queen. If they call us for a meeting, we have to go. In early stages, that's how the execution has to be done. We were willing to operate from a 2 BHK flat. My team members and including myself, when we were a small company, when the office help did not come, office mate did not come, we have wiped our floors by our own. So we have gone to that extent because we took our business like a god. We have to worship our business. We have to do whatever it takes to help our customer. So we were never concerned that, okay, I'm the founder. How can I mop the floor? This can be done by a house help or an office help. This is one part I'm showing you. On the customer side, if customer says, this is Friday night, I want this project, I am all ready. My team members may not be ready, and that is fine. I do not expect everyone to work on a Friday night or a Saturday, but as an entrepreneur, I am committed, I am ready to execute on the spot. That's the kind of commitment required in any successful journey and not just entrepreneurship. And lastly, don't chase investors, chase customers. We all hear the news of $5 million raised by XYZ startup, $50 million raised by some fintech company. You know, all of this happens. When all of this happens, the journalists, what they do not publish is the story behind. The story behind acquiring 1 million customers, and that is when you get a lot of funding. Customers are the ones who will give you money and not take it back. You know, employees will draw salary. Advisors will want exit at some point in time when you get bought out or when you get public, they would want money. Investors invest to get money back in the form of returns. Customer is the only one who gives you money not to ask it back ever. Obviously, you have to give the product in return. So if there is someone who is really funding your business, it is the customer. So that's how I think we followed the approach. We were very customer centric and we just went crazy when it comes to customers, and we completely ignored the investors. And I think that paid off really well. At the time of acquisition, my co-founder and I held 97% of the company. Just 3% was given to some advisors, some angel investors, that's about it. We did not have any institutional investor. And I think irrespective of the nature of business, this is the guru mantra. This is the mantra that every entrepreneur must follow. That's it. Thank you so much.